JT Crowley is Talking Books. On the show, you'll hear from emerging talent and seasoned veterans from around the world.
Hello, and welcome to Talking Books show on Web Talk Radio. I'm JT Crowley, the host, and today I have the author Rick Stuempfle from Pennsylvania in the United States of America. And he's joining me to talk about his epic book, and everybody, this is an epic book. And the title is The Saga of the Light Striper, The Reframing of a New World. And for me, if you are a lover of Tolkien, you're going to love this book because it is similar. It is written similar in a similar storyline, similar vein. You really are. So if you're a Tolkien fan, you'll love this book. So Rick, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Would you care to tell the audience a little about yourself and why you have written this epic book of... Now, there are 2 volumes in this book, everybody. So, and why 2 volumes? Who are you? And what's the light striper?
Thank you for those questions. The light striper is actually the symbol for the military, which has the theme that runs all the way through the 2 volumes. They are essential to the whole story. They hold the society together at this point, especially as things have fallen apart. The reason it's in 2 volumes, as you asked, is because I had to take a break in writing it due to circumstances in my life and then come back to it. And I was just very happy to see that both volumes fit together. That just was sort of remarkable to me to see that could happen. It's my own background. Well, I am a pastor, retired now, theologian, and mainly concerned with ethics, being involved in mental health and how do we treat people. And ethics, you will find, as well as faith, becomes major themes of this volume due to the fact that we are not going to see much magic here. That is one of the differences from other fantasies. No magic swords, no anything really. And the other difference would be is that in this particular story I've written, there are gods that really take a forefront in many cases and change the whole story. They are not hidden in the background or nebulous or minor gods fighting with one another. Very different that way.
Okay. So let's open the book. Now, as I said, everybody, there are 2 volumes to this book. And now we're not going to go through the whole chapters because we really would be here, not only this year, but next year. The first volume has got 10 chapters and the second volume's got 12 chapters. Now, Rick and I, before we came on, over the last few weeks, have been chatting away to each other, and we've had a few, laughs on the way, and a few, how should I say, teasing issues. But we've got over them, and we're here. So we've chosen to focus on 4 chapters in each of the volumes. So it just gives you a sneak preview to what the book is about. Because if you want to know what the whole book is about, then simply go and buy the book. Go on his publisher site or go on Amazon, and you will be able to see, where you can go to his publishers on Amazon on the written introduction that accompanies this video. So let's open this book. It must weigh an absolute ton, actually. Now, Rick, you start the book by saying, now we're going chapter 1, everybody, volume 1. You start the book, Rick, by saying, when is enough enough? What evidence pushes us over the top? The king is pacing the stone walled room of his personal quarters above the High Council Hall. Commander Chaplain Vosnob informs the king that the enemy, the Kiki, have disappeared, which alarms the Hayfians. The common serfs, who form the vast majority of the light striper structure, is in jeopardy. The relationship between the common serfs and the higher levels of Hayfian society appears strained, dysfunctional in particular, and probably more so with how they view the arrogant, lazy royals of Hayf. We have the characters like Sark, Luft, Vosnob, Vard, Eitan, Jabi. So this is a powerful, powerful opening chapter, Rick. Tell us what's the storyline here?
The first chapter is to set up what follows. That's sort of out in the open. Pretty much, you've had a long, maybe 80 years of a Cold War going on. And all of a sudden, the enemy disappears. Everything you've been settled into as routine for 50 years, 60 years, disappeared. And so this is causing great alarm. Where did they go? Why did they go? Are they coming back? How do we prepare for them when we look at our own society? And as you noted, as you read, Hayfian society is rather fragmented. They have different factions that want different pieces of the pie and not willing to share. And can they pull together to stave off what might happen or might not happen? It's very ambiguous as to what might come in the future. And so the king has done something out of the ordinary, because in this case, the king is elected. And usually they elect a flunky who does whatever the people in power. In this case, it would be the church and the merchants. And he bows to them. And all of a sudden, he realizes that we got a problem. And he is the king, and he needs to address it. And how is he going to do this? And so he does it by calling everybody together. And he reads them the Riot Act. Who needs to get their act together? Who needs a kick in the pants? And what needs to change in order to bring our society back to where it needs to be, especially with the vacuum now involved.
I love that American colloquialism, a kick in the pants. Rick, let's go to chapter 3. And again, all these chapters are busy, everybody. They're packed full of tense writing, action, intrigue, suspense. And as I said, if you're a Tolkien fan, you'll love this. But anyway, let's go to chapter 3. Now here you're talking about Brielle. She's telling her story. We've got the character Sarg, York, Luft, and they're talking about mutilation, experiments. They're talking about a burial, and the country being invaded by ghoulish ladies. Excommunications. You're talking also about the rasping claws of the Kiki. The the war tactics of the Kiki have become more advanced. And the journey from Crabbo to Dakar, plus a whole host of other things, everybody. Where are you steering the reader here, Rick?
Well, to make the story real, I wanted to put it in terms that a person could link into. And it's most easy for us to link into smaller groups. So here we have a group of 5 people, supposedly men. We find out there's a surprise here. They are a particular group of people. They are considered scouts. And they take off into the wild lands after checking out the main road and finding there's some problems with the light stripers who are maintaining the outposts. They don't do a good job. We find out that these ghoulish ladies have a link to the horrid evil, which is in the background still. The Kiiki, and that's how I pronounce it, Kiiki, are a toad-like enemy. They're huge. They have a problem because, like toads, they can only hop. But now they are picking up some brain power, and now they're able to hang on to a weapon, but can't throw it because they don't have any thumbs. And actually, they are not normal creation like the Hathians and their luck, but these are created from the evil one, whom we have not met yet.
We haven't.
And, excuse me?
We haven't met the evil one yet.
No, you haven't. No.
No. And the journey from Crabbo to Dakar?
Yeah. Interesting journey. What happens along the road is that people are exposed for who they are, what the rivalries are between them, and the fact that one has a fake name. And later on, we'll find out that here's a barrier broken in the military because she is not typical. Well, I gave it away. She is not typical military.
She's not.
But yet is very, very good and vulnerable member of the quartet who needs their protection in order to survive. And later on, she helps them out. So there's nice balance in that story.
There is. And when you look at, there is a map, everybody, of the, at the beginning of the book. And the scale is, for every inch, is, I believe, 1,000 miles. So when you actually look at it, it's a big island almost. Now, chapter 8. Here you introduce us to new knights, new recruits. We've got the Yildian elders, the gathering of more elders from across the kingdom, because it's a big kingdom, everybody. The king's illness. And now, has he fallen ill, or are the physicians who are surrounding him, are they up to something? And who are they really looking after? I'm saying nothing. And then we've got Jabby's relationship with the Holy One. Jabby's character as a whole is very interesting, everybody. The monastery, the abbot, Jabby's conversation. It's a busy, busy chapter, isn't it, Rick? Tell us about it.
Well, we end up changing gears in order to meet the demands of what's been happening. And one of the peoples that now comes into view are the Yildians, and they are sort of a subset of the Hathians. They live up on the mountainside, forest areas, very environmentally concerned people, and very spiritual people. The Hathians have what they call the book, the holiness code. The Ildians have no problem with that, but their opinion is you can't stick God in a book. God is too big for a book. And so this is what is brought into this story now, and they add their influence to it. And by doing this, they have to take the king under consideration to make sure he's on the right track. The king needs to have some vision, which he portrays as being a white eagle, which we find out is maybe not true. It's a little different from how it's anticipated, which is okay.
It is.
And
This is Rick keeping you in suspense, everybody. And he's so good at this. He's so good at this. But the physicians, the doctors, whose side are they on, really?
Well, that's one of the other things that we need to deal with. How did they get their positions? Well, from the old world, in which you could buy things. You could buy your way into being a doctor, being an officer in the military. And some of this I picked up from British history. In the old days, you guys could buy yourself a regiment if you wanted to, if you had the money.
Or you could buy yourself a lordship.
Yes, true. And so these are the people who start off working with the king. But it's not helping matters any at all. And in regard to that, there's a council of 3 set up to help the king from day to day.
There you go, everyone. The plot is twisting, as it should do. It should do that. And if you're listening to him, he's not really giving much away, everybody. I'm trying my best to get it out of him, but he's not giving much away. Chapter 9 now, Rick, is the penultimate chapter in volume 1 of this book. And we have the character Wykenak. I hope I've got that right. And we've got Ralph, the garrison troopers escorting the physicians north to Hythe North, the church guard, a bridge encounter, a trade-off, the character Balti, the evil one. Any comment here? Are you going to divulge a little bit more for us here?
Well, things get more complex, as you noted. Yes, in this particular chapter, we're going different directions. We're ferreting out who is going to be supporting the new changes in society and who isn't. Those who are, of course, are those in the light striper. They are designated helpers. The church guard kicks in because they are pretty much like the guard that surrounds the Pope. They
the Swiss guards
hang in there and make sure that everything is safe. And if they have to take action, they do. And one of the things that they will take care of in the near future is these doctors who supposedly are helping the king.
or not. And the bridge encounter, the trade-off.
Which encounter again?
The bridge encounter.
The bridge.
When they come to a bridge.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yes. Okay. I'm not acquainted with your accent. Sorry. Yes.
British accent.
I don't have one. Okay. Yes. This is a testing. The first time we come face to face with the organized Hafian resistance, which has gone over to the bad side and amounts to a civil war around the city of Haith North. And they have changed uniforms, they're dressed in red, and they are about to stop anybody who wants to stick with the old god. Or actually, let me get myself together here. Sorry. The men in red are representing the evil god, who thinks he's a god, but really isn't a god. But you'll have to read the book to understand that thoroughly. And so we have a confrontation here that is going to mix up everything.
It does, everyone.
Including,
And you do have to read the book to understand what we're talking about here. I'm teasing you.
Yes,
here.
because there's been a group that's been lost that were on a journey up into the mountains where called the Badlands, which is on the map. And they supposedly are all dead, but we find out they're not dead. And shortly after the confrontation at the bridge, some of the survivors are back in the picture again.
They are.
And they have a story of their own, which we have not covered at all.
No. We've not covered that. And we're not going to. Read the book.
No.
Let's move on, Rick, to volume 2. Now, there are 12 chapters in this part of the book. And let's go straight into chapter 1. And here we've got the character Rux. I hope I've got it, pronounced right. My British accent. And there's talk of the king's abdication due to his condition, the king's position and in the future in the kingdom, the king's role in this conversation. Why have you opened up this volume, this new part of the book, with talk of the king's abdication? Are you preparing the reader, the audience here for what's coming down the line?
That would be a yes and a no. We're going to keep it ambiguous. But yes, everyone has realized that the king is quite incapacitated. He's not getting any better. The kingdom does need a figurehead at the front. Can the king do this? That is an open question as the chapter begins. The interesting character who comes back into the fore here is Rux. He is sort of an outsider who is part of the inside group. It's kind of like a skinny scarecrow type man, and his companion is like 2 times the size of Friar Tuck. And he's a monk. And both of these have some special gifts that they use sometimes concurrently, sometimes against each other. But they are paired up. And because of their background, they are in the midst of chapter 1 to help see how we're going to progress to go forward by looking outside the box.
In the United Kingdom, we have a saying here, chalk and cheese. And that's what these two characters are, Rux and the Friar Tuck, as you say. And I'm not going to give any more away here, everybody. So let's whiz on to chapter 4. And here we find some new characters. And as we go through the book, everybody, Rick keeps on introducing more characters. And as he twists and turns the plot, and boy, does he do that. Mind, he's got plenty of space to do it with this big book. Now, here we've got the characters Nui and Jelkio. I hope I've got that right. They are lovers who have escaped from the king's myopic entourage. Marriage, recognized in the holiness code? And Jelkio talks about in the Tath people, men have many lovers who are not wives. Jelkio is a Tath woman. Nui is a woodman from a Yildan of no standing. Jelko is Tath royalty. So I'm wondering, have we got a mismatch here? And we also got other characters like Warmaker. We've got Ashua's character. We've got Demon Lords. We've got Paradise Valley. And a new beast, the Thing. So for me, Rick, you are ratcheting up the storyline here. Wait, please tell us, where are you taking us here?
Okay.
With these two lovers.
Well, we'll have to back up a few chapters. What is discovered from the groups that went out to survey the Badlands is that, guess what? Hathians and Yildans are not the only people on this land. Not. There are people named Tath, T-A-T-H. They are a different race, but they are humanoid like everybody else. However, they have blue skin. And as in any society where there are what we would call people of colors, this is what we have here. Because the Taths are one color, the Yildians are another color, and now we got the Taths, another color. And the whole thing now is, can we deal with racism? How does that happen? How do we look at things? And especially now, as this chapter goes on, of course, those two are married, and they are married by Oros, our monk, big monk, and they're married in the name of their god. However, we all know from at this particular point that the blue people in the Northlands also have their own god, who is very, very strange for a god.
And there's even a little bit of a, how shall I say it, a love scene here, everyone, in this chapter.
Well, yes. Yes.
Just read the chapter to find out what's going on here, everyone. And this is why we agreed to talk about these chapters. They're like the pinpoints, and once you start to join them up, you'll start to see the whole ethic of this book. The whole storyline will come out. But you will have to read the book, and it's going to take you quite a while to read it. Now, chapter 6, and I have to admit, because at the moment I'm doing a lot of the talking here, and Rick is smiling away at me from the other side of the computer. Don't worry, when he is doing the talking, I'll be smiling back at him. Now, let's go to chapter 6. And, to give a a mini introduction as to what the reader can expect to see and feel get here, I'm going to let you have free range as to what's going on here. As you know, I've roughly given people an idea what's in the chapter. So this one, I'm not going to give them an idea what's in the chapter. You tell us what's in this chapter.
Whoa. Got to put my thinking cap on here. Yes. If I recall properly, and I may not, I'm getting to be an old man, we find here the beginnings of a great war coming on.
We do.
A very great war in which nobody really knows how it's coming on, who's in control. At one time, the evil god had been able to enlist to pay off some Halfians to help them out. Sometimes they do, sometimes they get carried away and they get killed. The horde of Kiiki now has some what we call demon masters, who are like 3 steps up. They have a guttural language, but they know that by the rule of the evil one, Yeshua, as he's called, they don't do exactly what he says, they are dead. So irregardless of what the circumstances bring about, they are obligated to follow through. And it's up to the Halfians and their allies, which now include the Tastes, and their, the king's white eagle does show up now, very prominently, as an istel. And to give it away, yes, an istel is an enormous bird that people can ride on. And they do ride on. And so as the battle begins, or as it terminates and as it goes on, the Istels become an air force or the ground forces. And all the pieces that have been put together, the new knights, the phalanxers, an old man named Wega, who likes to invent new weapons as we go along, is also involved in his war wagons. So this begins a very big battle, a battle to extinction, one way or the other.
It does. And it's the start for me of heading towards the end. Now, I want to go to the last chapter we're going to talk about, chapter 10. So this is the 10th chapter out of 12. And for me, when I look at this chapter, Rick, I seem to think, ponder on, consider that this is you starting to tidy up loose ends as you gear up for the finishing line. You know, you're making sure that all these loose threads are taken care of. You know, the character, Bo, Bray, Kanana, feature heavily here. A new king or queen? Imminent in the near future? Am I right here, Rick, by saying this is you starting to draw the conclusion, tidy up the loose ends as you head toward the finishing line?
I will give you a yes and a no on that as well. It does. For most of it, it does. There are stories that need to be summed up. This is not going to be a volume 3. This is volume 1 and 2. That's it. And so, yeah, let's see how these peoples come out. What is the result? How do we deal with the change, especially now that the influence of the past has come in and people are saying, well, why can't women do this and why can't women do that? Because Tath is ruled by women and Hafe is ruled by men. So now we have some switching around to do. Plus, there is some surprises left, in as much as there's a gentleman who is probably a few million years old who has not made an appearance yet.
Shh, don't say.
That's as much as I will say. Because what will seep in as you read the book is that this land we call Hafe and Tath and the Badlands at one time may have been called something else, something like we live on now. And something very horrible happened. And the last couple chapters will put that in perspective a bit more.
I'm not going to say yes or no.
Well, thank you.
I've got my own revenge there, everybody. Yes. He's done that a couple of times to me, and I've just got it back to him. I'm not going to say yes, it does, or no, it doesn't. You need to go and have a look at the book. Now, did you enjoy writing this book, and how long has it taken you to put this together? And did you enjoy creating all these characters? And why this genre?
Well, this genre allows me a lot of flexibility to deal in story form some of the issues we still confront each and every day in our own lives, in our own communities. And I wanted to do that in a way that didn't smack people right in the face, like the newspapers might do. I also enjoyed writing it because fantasy allows me to go my own direction. And, my mother, for instance, was a big fan of Edgar Rice Burroughs, the guy who gave us Tarzan, who was the first one to say a guy like Tarzan could go back and play with dinosaurs. Well, why not? So my imagination is still that of a 6-year-old, and I hope it stays that way. And I think that blended into the story quite well. At least I enjoyed putting it that way.
I would put it way young at heart.
Especially people who are different.
Yes.
People who are hung up on something. And now they have to change because here's reality and you're not seeing reality.
Indeed. Who would you like to see reading your book?
Well, if I had my way, I'd say everybody go out and buy it. But no, I think people who want to dig into characters, people who are concerned about society in general. And so how does a different society handle these things? People who just want a good story for the sake of a good story. And I don't think you'll be bored.
You won't be bored, everybody. Believe you me. As I said, if you're a Tolkien fan, you're going to love this. But it's not going to be a book that you're going to go through in a week. It'll take you a little bit longer than that because it's a big, thick book. But the characters, the storylines, the twists, the turns, where Rick is taking you into another world is just phenomenal. When I first looked at the book, I thought, oh, where do I go here? And as I looked at it and looked at it and looked at it, I thought, oh, this is a wonderful, powerful book. And I just hope that you will all pick it up and have a look at it because it is absolutely phenomenal. Where can people get your books from, Rick?
At this point here in the States, Amazon has it. I think Amazon's available here, over in England and other places as well.
No, it's all over the world.
Yeah, okay. It was supposed to be sent to bookstores, but I live very far away out in the countryside, so I've not been to one to check it out. But it is out there in print. It may cost you more to have it shipped to you because of its weight than what the book would cost.
So, I have to say, everybody, Rick Stuempfle, it's been a true journey. It's been a wonderful experience chatting to you about your book. And you did say there was no volume 3. Well, I hope that there's going to be maybe not something that's following in, the light saga of the light striper books, but I hope you're going to write something else. But could you do us a favor? Make it a little shorter. That'd be good.
Okay, the story told itself. I can't argue.
No!
That's how it came out.
Shorter story, please. Rick Stuempfle, thank you very much for joining me.
And thank you, John. It's been an honor, been a privilege, and I do hope that more than just you will read the book. And I think they will. I think it's a good story. I've enjoyed writing it. I've enjoyed sharing it with everybody who's interested.
Even your congregations.
Yes.
I'm JT Crowley. Thanks for listening wherever you're in the world. Until next time, stay safe.